What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the Hasan I broadcast coming to you live from not so sunny, kind of gloomy, kind of sunny, moderately sunny, but a little cloudy, California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MVs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Newsday, Tuesday, lads. It's Newsday, fucking Tuesday, lads. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is Newsday, Tuesday. JUBILEE hosted 20 fascists, like self-described, self-identified fascists, and did their surrounded sequence with like 20 fascists. Maybe a couple aren't like actual fascists, but I guess like at that point, if you are around those guys, you might as well also call yourself a fascist. There was like one confused DACA recipient in there, and then like one Iranian magician in there as well. One self-hating Iranian guy who said, you know, whites need their own ethno-state and they don't think I'm human, but that's okay. They have a difference in opinion. Yeah, there was a Mexican DACA recipient who had an epiphany amidst the incredible, open, virile, repulsive white supremacist racism that I saw from any YouTube video. I mean, this kind of stuff makes like Xbox Live lobbies look tame, especially because this is like the boring kind of racism too. This is like, nah, you don't get it. I'm genuinely invested in this kind of racism, if that makes sense. Not great. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say is not a great situation overall. Just not good. Not good at all. Very bad, as a matter of fact. The racism to Mehdi continued on after the participants, who was literally a Nazi. Oh, yeah, this guy. I didn't go up during the JUBILEE debate because Hasan smelled like shit, he says. This is perhaps the biggest self-own of all time, especially considering that this motherfucker literally traveled all the way to California to do a goddamn JUBILEE stream surrounded by other Nazis, and he was too much of a pussy to go up on stage. And then he has to like do this kind of racist cope after the fact to be like, oh, you remember he's brown, he smelled bad. And he's got the Burger King like hat, t-shirt too. That shirt is the guy that said the N-word that wore the Burger King crown on the plane. How are you going to be the biggest loser in this field of losers? It doesn't make any sense. One of the guys literally got fired. That's how big of a fucking loser these guys were. One of them actually got fired, bro. Okay, fired from his job. This guy, Nazi influencer Pine Sap, fired for being racist after viral JUBILEE video, which I didn't even know he had a job. These guys are all at the loser convention, and this guy somehow was like an even bigger loser than the other ones. I don't even know how it's possible. But hey, guess what? There's obviously a lot of clout to be had for being an open, out and about fascist, white supremacist, racist piece of shit. Because guess what? Apparently, he has a fired for my political beliefs give, send, go account, which is now at $30,000. America is in a deep, dark cesspit, dude. I don't know how to contend with this. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm telling you right now, we're in a scary place, bro. We are in a bad place. These motherfuckers will literally fundraise off of being racist. It's probably not a good thing when people can just, you know, get fired from their job for being racist and then fundraise off that. Like, you're basically making money for being just openly racist. I don't know if that's like sustainable. Like, this is a country that went to the moon. What are we doing? We went to the moon, man. Like, the USSR was literally stealing our lunch money on the space race, and we just went to the fucking moon. And look at us now. We were at the peak of innovation. Okay, this was the country that was the recipient of the brain drain. People from all around the world would come here for prosperity. And now all of that mental fortitude, all of that collective might goes to inventing new ways of, I guess, like inventing new ways of being racist and making money off of being a fucking white supremacist. Like, this shit's sad, dude. How do you look at this goddamn country and think like, nah, things are good, actually. This is good. But hey, guess what, dude? We are finding new ways of being a piece of shit online. So at least we have new technology We are reaching new technological, innovative fields in terms of being an asshole online and then making money off of it. Your interview with the NELK boys is going viral everywhere. I mean, I wouldn't say it was an interview, let alone more so like a reasonable person being like, what the fuck were you guys thinking? They're calling them the Nurem boys now. Your obese incel NELK boy homie you work out with calling Zoran anti-Semitic and hosting modern day Hitler. You should be roasting the fuck out of him. Dude, I don't understand this conversation that's taking place in my chat right now because I already did. Like, what more do you want me to do? I don't understand. Do you want me to like fucking arrest them or something? Do you want me to put them in under citizen's arrest? Like, what the fuck? I literally did that. Did you not watch? I did that to their faces. Like, I had a conversation with them right after where I was like, this is a fucking, what is this, the attitude, this argument, this fucking insane shit that people get mad at me over? I don't get it. Did you watch the full interview? Will you watch the whole NELK boys interview? I will. But what's interesting is like, I didn't have to watch that interview to know that it was a fucking spectacular shit show, right? Because I know that the very reason why that interview is taking place is because they're not going to ask like contentious questions and they're not going to have any follow-ups. And that was my major issue with it, even without seeing the interview. And it's so funny that like, you know, Redditors are so invested in certain narratives, like, for example, saying that Hasan sucks, Hasan is bad at his job, and he's like the worst person that's ever existed, that a lot of the criticism I saw on Reddit was either people going, says you interviewed random Yemeni teenager, or classic Hasan not watching the subject matter footage and then deciding to debate people on something he hasn't watched. It's like, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Was any of the criticisms that I issued incorrect? No, it wasn't. So what the fuck are you guys talking about? Some of these guys unfucking ironically have no capacity to think on their own. Times of Israel lumped you in with the worst influencers. U.S. podcasters host anti-Semitic influencers after backlash over Netanyahu interview. Myron Gaines, Sneeko, and then like one of these things is not like the others, I think, right? I guess I know if you're Times of Israel and you're like, oh, this guy's an anti-Zionist, but it kind of feels a little crazy that I get added on to the fucking pile. Hold up, you made it to the Reddit vanilla front page? Dude, please, why are you boosting LSF posts in this chat? Nobody cares, dude. Nobody fucking cares. Destiny's community is all up in this fucking bitch, okay? Like, look at LSF, dude. Look at what you just posted. This is a fleshlight for all of my fucking haters to utilize. Look, Hasan says that even liberal Israelis are bloodthirsty when/if they're only inbred and the uneducated are left. This doesn't even make sense. Clearly something that they fucking clipped to massage this way. Piers Morgan wanted Destiny to answer why he tweeted out what he did about the victims in Texas. 18 plus 18K upvotes. Hasan wasn't happy after the NELK boys grouped him with Sneeko and Nick Fuentes. Twitch streamer Hasan says it's weird that ISIS never attacks Israel, only kills Muslims. 12,000 upvotes. Like, this is a clip from fucking 9 months ago, chat. Are you fucking stupid? It's like they're trying to manufacture outrage. None of it fucking matters. Keep pushing, okay? They can keep pushing all they want. Just be normal. I don't understand why any of that on Reddit, which is an incredibly desperate attempt to try to be like, this guy is bad, guys. Remember, at a time when like everyone has come to the same conclusion, they're like, no, you don't understand. This guy's actually really racist. Like, they're doing the same thing that like annoying fucking social justice warriors did for years and years and years. Except in this circumstance, I'm on the fucking right side of history and they're on the wrong side of history. They're just trying to desperately be like, no, you don't understand. Hasan actually arrived at this conclusion ahead of time because he like secretly holds enmity towards Jews or something. That's it. Yeah, they only do this because they get mad that I get interviewed by the fucking New York Times or CNN or NPR or numerous other places. They know that there's no way to fucking stop that kind of thing from happening. So they just have to desperately cling on to anything and everything they possibly can, which includes like clips from fucking 9 months ago out of context. It's a dead sub that they only use to boost shit that they can try and get to the fucking front page. It's very simple. Okay? It's very simple. Do you love Israel? Is the actual question. Okay? Do you love Israel? A lot of these guys are too afraid to openly say that, at least at this point. But they've held on to that mentality for the past 2 years. So instead of actually defending their own indefensible positions, now that like the overwhelming majority public opinion is obviously completely against Israel, all they can do is just like attack someone like myself by saying, oh, he only hates Israel because he hates Jews. I promise. Please, 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 please. They have no other space where they can just like pollute the airwaves with this shit. It's only Reddit. They can't even do this on fucking Twitter. It's gross, but the echo chamber is shrinking. But these are literally some of Israel's strongest warriors these days, which says a lot about how fucked their public perception is. Yes, exactly. Israel's public perception is so fucked that when the NELK boys interview Benjamin Netanyahu, that act in and of itself is indicative of how far Israel has fallen. Why the fuck are you a goddamn war criminal with an ICC warrant out for your arrest and you're going on the NELK boys podcast? And not only that, but also when you go on the NELK boys podcast, it doesn't actually offer you positive PR. It just ends up collapsing the PR for the NELK boys. Because that's the reality here. Because like, NELK boys interview Benjamin Netanyahu, right? If they were to ask me ahead of time, I would have told them not to do it. The interview itself got not even 1 million views in one day, which is a decent amount of views. In the middle of the interview with, again, Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, they end up doing like, you know, gambling ads and things of that nature. It's all so dystopian. But this to me shows desperation from Israel. They have no allies with the exception of mainstream media, but even they realize that regardless of how many mainstream media attempts they make, they're still not going to be able to change the way people see Israel. It's over. It's done. It is a global fucking pariah. And it's such a global pariah that sending Benjamin Netanyahu on the Full Send podcast with this idiotic assumption that the NELK Boys podcast is going to make a bunch of right-wingers look at Benjamin Netanyahu in a positive way is so stupid. It is a spectacularly stupid and spectacularly desperate attempt of trying to do propaganda. It's shocking how bad this situation is. And Ben Lorber also reported on this, said Haaretz reports Israel is training MAGA Gen Z influencers to combat growing criticism on the right. They're using Israel 365, a Christian-focused Hasbro outfit I wrote about recently for Jewish Currents. Watch this group. They're a crucial conduit between Israeli and the Christian right. It's not going to work because for the generational divide between the generational divide in terms of like how people perceive Israel is so severe that even the Christian right under a certain age group is entirely off the Israel train. Ryan Grimm even posted about this. It's so funny that I've had like a bunch of serious journalists reach out to me about the NELK boys to be like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, why were they interviewing? Like Ryan Grimm hit me up and was like, why are they interviewing Benjamin Netanyahu? Who are these guys? But you know, not the best post-game interview if you are the head of the Israeli state when you had this conversation with these guys and they had to play catch up and they had to play defense and do crisis PR, as Adam Friedland called, immediately after this interview. It's so controversial that they literally had to turn around and be like, yo, we're kind of sorry that we did this. My bad.
It's a good point. Someone said having Netanyahu on is like having modern day Hitler.
No, I saw that.
Which is, honestly, guys, I'll be honest. I'm here to... It's a good point. We're here to fucking learn, to be honest, guys.
The reason why I'm not as upset, I guess, as the rest of the internet is because maybe I'm so used to mainstream outlets doing unlimited PR for Israel over and over again that like when I see something like this, when I see an attempt from the Israeli state to try and do propaganda for the Israeli state by sending Benjamin Netanyahu of all fucking people to the NELK Boys podcast, I see that as a major fucking self-own. It's also yet another indication that not only have they fallen apart in terms of the PR, that their reputation is so bad that when you have a head of a state, like a head of a foreign state, if you were to just like remove the fact that he is a genocidaire, if you have this head of a state on a fucking podcast, and instead of people's reaction being like, oh, dude, this is sick, their reaction is incredibly negative, and it literally hurts the NELK boys more than it helps Benjamin Netanyahu and more than it helps the NELK boys. This interview is not going to be even remotely positive for Benjamin Netanyahu. And it's not positive even for the NELK boys either. And if I were to put myself in their mindset for a second, okay, slamming fucking happy dads and, you know, ripping lip pillows, upper deckies, and doing crypto gambling or whatever, okay? And I've already interviewed Donald Trump multiple times. I've been on his plane, Air Force One, Trump Force One, and I've interviewed Elon Musk. Like, I've interviewed people that other people have considered villains. In my mind, I'm thinking, what's the difference? You know what I mean? What's the difference? I'm just looking for, I mean, there's like content to be made out of interviewing a foreign head of state. The only difference, however, is that while Trump is also a villain, and so is Elon Musk, what these guys don't understand is that the only thing Benjamin Netanyahu is famous for is doing a genocide. At least Trump is like a TV guy. He's more telegenic. He's an American president. You're, you know, an American facing podcast, all this stuff. There's a greater defense for interviewing someone like Donald Trump, even though many people would consider that indefensible as well, especially given that they're very clearly ill-equipped to even call into question a bunch of stuff that Trump has done. Here's Nathan J. Robinson's take. The rise of the idiot interviews like Friedman, Rogan, Vaughn, and the NELK boys very harmful to journalism. They somehow manage to be worse than mainstream media. They're walking PSAs for the importance of reading books. The problem is that because they have refused to study the issues closely, they don't even know when they're being fed propaganda and therefore can't challenge it effectively. Result is their viewers get exposed to propaganda without hearing any counter arguments. I am not in the same mindset as Nathan J. Robinson because I don't think this is like as damaging to the discourse. I think the very fact that this interview took place is more newsworthy than any number of different things that this interview allowed Benjamin Netanyahu to do. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand what I'm talking about? It's like when the New York Times writes a story about Zohran Mamdani's like college application or something that from a college they didn't even get into, like Columbia, and they go in and they get like hacked material from a known white supremacist race scientist, right? The story and their coverage of it is not as impactful and is not like as anti-Zohran as the fact that they wrote that story and thought that this was a good story to publish. That becomes the story in and of itself. And it's kind of a similar thing here where, by my estimation, the very fact that the Israeli state thought it was a good idea to go on the fucking NELK Boys podcast to try and run PR for their ongoing active genocide because they recognize how much they've fallen out of favor overall is the bigger story here. The bigger story here is the desperation for the Israeli state and also the reception, the broad reception from the internet towards the NELK Boys, who obviously have been, even in right-wing circles, but like right-wing circles, left-wing circles, like obviously people have had their minds made on these guys to begin with, especially when they were, promoting Donald Trump. But what's actually more interesting is that Benjamin Netanyahu is such a repulsive, toxic, cancerous individual in what he represents that even the right is attacking the NELK boys now. Like they're eating it from both ends. That to me is a bigger story than the fact that the NELK boys even interviewed or what kind of propaganda Benjamin Netanyahu was able to do. Because like a lot of people here want me to like address some of the statements that Benjamin Netanyahu said in this fucking interview. I already know what statements he made in this interview. You want to know why I know these statements that he made in this interview? Because it's pure Hasbara. I've heard it a million times over in my fucking, all the way from my Twitter replies down to every single Israeli envoy that goes on mainstream media and defends Israel's actions. It's always the same. There's not a lot of leeway in what kind of propaganda you can do when you are just like actively committed to doing an ethnic cleansing campaign in broad daylight.